Republicans in Congress don't have a spine, because if they did, we would be impeaching Merrick Garland. Merrick Garland basically issued a kill order for President Trump.
On that one, that allegation is false, and it is extremely dangerous.
The typically frustratingly mild-mannered Attorney General Merrick Garland publicly called out the lies of Marjorie Taylor Greene and the Fox propaganda network after they suggested that he and President Biden conspired to assassinate Donald Trump, and we have to talk about it. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bell before you go. All right, friends, we have several clips to play, and this is something of a follow-up to a video that was done yesterday about the conspiracy theory, the wild, dangerous conspiracy theory peddled by MAGA Republicans like Marjorie Taylor Greene and the Fox propaganda network, that when the FBI went to Mar-a-Lago back in 2022 to take classified documents from Donald Trump's home, that there was some sort of elaborate conspiracy to assassinate Donald Trump. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'm going to play this clip here where she alleges that, again, Attorney General Merrick Garland and President Biden conspired to assassinate Trump and that he should be impeached.
That's the problem, Dan. Republicans in Congress don't have a spine, because if they did, we would be impeaching Merrick Garland. Merrick Garland basically issued a kill order for President Trump. That raid on Mar-a-Lago should have never happened as a standard normal practice. Like they're claiming it's totally okay that they did that. It wasn't okay. Donald J. Trump is the former president of the United States and the Republican candidate for president this year in 2024. He should have never had his house raided. Melania Trump's bedroom raided. Barron Trump's bedroom raided, all of their personal items. They stole President Trump's medical records, his passports, and other important personal documents.
So again, wild, unhinged conspiracy theory. A couple of things to note. It is standard practice for the past 24 years, since 2000, for that section of an operating standard in the FBI's operations to be pre-filled in. It's authorizing but limiting the use of deadly force for FBI agents. And I'll let Merrick Garland kind of explain the rest, but he calls all this out for the dangerous nonsense that it is.
I got most of us got a solicitation email this morning from the former President of the United States saying that the Justice Department had authorization to kill him during the Mar-a-Lago raid. First, can you give us some clarification on that particular point that he's making, and whether or not deadly force is authorized in other interventions, including the search of Mr. Biden's residence and office? And the second question is...
Can I do one at a time? Okay. On that one, that allegation is false, and it is extremely dangerous. The document that is being referred to in the allegation is the Justice Department standard policy limiting the use of force. As the FBI advises, it is part of the standard operations plan for searches, and in fact, it was even used in the consensual search of President Biden's home.
So there you go. That standard, which Republicans are freaking out about, it's been standard operating procedure for 24 years. It's pre-filled in, and it was also used when the FBI searched President Biden's home, to say nothing of the fact that the FBI coordinated with Secret Service the day that they raided Mar-a-Lago and picked a day that Trump wouldn't be there. So all of this conspiracy theory, as we mentioned in the previous video, has been utterly debunked, but it's so bad and so dangerous that even mild-mannered Merrick Garland, who we constantly criticize on this show, felt the need to step up and say, this is really stupid and dangerous and it's completely untrue. But it didn't stop the Fox propaganda network from running with it for at least 24 hours. Now, of course, the question is, will they actually, retract what they said or contextualize, do a fact check? Probably not. It's the Fox propaganda network. But the Twitter account Decoding Fox News, shout out to her, she put together a compilation of some of the right-wing weirdos on the Fox propaganda network spreading this conspiracy theory. So just want to remind you of how deranged they are.
News alert, a major bombshell in the Trump documents case. The FBI authorized the use of deadly force during the Mar-a-Lago raid. This according to documents filed by Trump's legal team. Agents in unmarked polo shirts planned to bring standard issue weapons, ammo, handcuffs, medium and large-size bolt cutters, and even lock-picking equipment as they prepared to go door-to-door at Mar-a-Lago. And quote, "Wow, I just came out of the Biden witch hunt trial in Manhattan, the icebox, and was shown reports that crooked Joe Biden's DOJ and their illegal and unconstitutional raid of Mar-a-Lago authorized the FBI to use deadly, lethal force. Now we know for sure that Joe Biden's a serious threat to democracy. He is mentally unfit to hold office. 25th Amendment." They're saying Trump's going to unleash assassination squads on his enemies? But Biden unleashed armed agents into Trump's house, authorized armed agents to use deadly force in the Mar-a-Lago raid. That is insane. Is there any justification for that?
Absolutely not. Now, why would they do that? I don't know. But, you know, my mind as a prosecutor goes to maybe they wanted the engagement of physical force. Maybe they wanted to come in without FBI, without, DOJ, without all of that, identifying so that they could engage in deadly physical force. And let me ask, they didn't do it against Joe Biden when they seized his records.
But they did. Again, as Attorney General Garland points out, that was indeed the standard protocol even for President Biden. So Judge Jeanine Pirro was once again predictably wrong on the facts. And this is supposed to be her bailiwick, right? The law, the court system, and she's completely wrong. Folks, this is incredibly unhinged. It really is. It's incredibly unhinged and dangerous. I'll say this, Jackie Heinrich, who is a Fox News reporter, one of the saner ones, she had actually been on top of this from the beginning, saying, guys, this ain't it. This is not an assassination attempt. This is reportedly standard operating procedure. And then she followed it, despite the fact that right-wingers and Fox News viewers in her comments are furious that she is speaking the truth. Okay. I'll also point out, it's kind of funny, again, I mentioned this in the previous video, that even if we take this ridiculous conspiracy theory at face value, which we shouldn't, it is completely untrue. It's been utterly debunked, and anyone peddling it is just an unambiguous liar. But let's say it's true. Again, wasn't it Donald Trump, MAGA, and the Republican Party that were advocating, even in front of the United States Supreme Court, that sitting presidents should have the power to assassinate their political rivals and not suffer any legal or prosecutorial consequences? That would be, if their conspiracy theory was true, the sitting president, Joe Biden, would have done just that. So why are they complaining? Unless, of course, they actually don't believe that presidents should be allowed to assassinate political rivals, and they're just making that case in bad faith to defend Trump because it's a cult, which is yet another reason why we should relentlessly make fun of and hold MAGA in contempt. There's no reasoning with these people. If you believe that the president of the United States is entitled to absolute legal immunity, you should be celebrating President Biden's right to do what you think he did, even though he actually didn't do it because, of course, this is a debunked conspiracy theory. As I pointed out in exchanges all day today with people on Twitter, given that the language used was also used when the FBI went to President Biden's Delaware home, does that mean Joe Biden tried to assassinate himself? Doesn't make any sense. These people are really stupid, bad faith actors, and we should make fun of them relentlessly. I'll also play one more clip, though, of Merrick Garland, because again, normally mild-mannered, but actually kind of like a little bit sassy. I don't know if he's feeling himself, but he was asked about the recent effort by House Republicans to hold him in contempt of Congress because he's refusing to provide the audio file of a full transcript, which he has already provided, of the conversations between Special Counsel Robert Hur and the president. Again, Republicans have the full unredacted transcript and the full unredacted report, which is much more than Republican special counsels have ever given us. Merrick Garland, once again, super good guy, bends over backwards to accommodate the Republicans. But as I've told you, it's never enough. Give them an inch, they take a mile, they'll move the goalposts. It's not enough. Now they want the audio file because they want to use it and clip it to try to hurt President Biden politically. And for that reason, among others, which Garland's going to get into here, President Biden asserted executive privilege, and Republicans are pissed off about it. I say, given how infamously uncooperative Donald Trump was when he was president with Democratic investigations, this is precisely the posture that President Biden and the Biden Justice Department should have been taking from day one. Hey, You want good faith? Then you have to show us good faith too. It can't just be Democrats giving you whatever you want, you giving us nothing in return. And if you're going to play hardball and act in bad faith, we reserve the right to smugly do it too, and we'll gladly wield our power over you, losers. But Attorney General Merrick Garland kind of weighs in on this impeachment effort against him.
The second question is, obviously the House appears poised to move ahead with the contempt resolution on you. I just wonder if you have any comments on it, or if you could tell us whether or not you watched the House Oversight Committee meeting the other night.
I caught part of that hearing on Saturday Night Live. But seriously, I am very disappointed. The Justice Department, as I've explained before, has gone to extraordinary lengths to accommodate the legitimate interests of the committees. I have released the full and unredacted report of Mr. Hur. We permitted Mr. Hur to testify for over 5 hours on everything that happened in connection with this investigation, and we provided the transcripts of the interviews in which the committee is interested. But on the other side, the President of the United States has asserted executive privilege in order to protect the Justice Department's ability in future investigations to get cooperation in high-profile cases, particularly involving the White House. My job is to protect the Justice Department's ability to conduct those investigations. My job is to protect the rule of law, and that's what I'm doing.
Again, good for him for finally drawing a line in the sand and saying, we're not doing this. You're not entitled to whatever you want, certainly when there's no legislative purpose for it. It's just to hurt the president. You have the content of the interviews. You have every damn word written on paper, but you want it spoken out loud for purely partisan, cynical political purposes. And I'm not going to indulge you. Make me. I love that. Love that energy from Merrick Garland. He should still be fired, by the way, if President Biden wins re-election, and we need to get a Rottweiler in there, somebody like Glenn Kirshner, somebody who's willing to actually prosecute. Again, Merrick Garland's a brilliant man. There's no question about it. And he has a really good judicial temperament in his later years. By the way, he was, a legendary prosecutor. I think he prosecuted, it was like the Atlanta Olympics bomber, I think, or maybe the Unabomber. Maybe it was Ted Kaczynski. I can't, but like major bombing cases. This man prosecuted, but over the years, his prosecutorial temperament mutated into a judicial temperament where instead of being adversarial, instead of being the prosecutor, the adversary, he's more of a judge. And the Attorney General of the United States is not a judge. He's a prosecutor, he's the nation's chief prosecutor. So we need somebody with that sort of mindset in the role. But love this. Love the fact that he shut it down. Love the fact that he's drawn a line in the sand. And we'll see what Marjorie Taylor Greene and MAGA Republicans do with this. I expect facts will never get in their way. It's typically the case with them. But yeah, good for Garland for shutting this down. Let me know what you think in the comments.